What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Rooted in Reptiles. In today's episode, we're going to be covering brumation. Just like I gave you guys in the little update this week, we're going to be trying to go through and time certain episodes with the time of the year and what's happening with your animals. So right now, everyone's animals are going into brumation, if they aren't already. I'm seeing a ton of questions about what's wrong with my skink on Facebook. And, it's not eating, it's sleeping all the time, it's lethargic, but it's really just brumation. It's totally natural for the Aussie species. When you get into the gigas, they don't brumate. Right now, gigas are actually breeding for everybody. So, while the Aussies are sleeping, the gigas are out making babies. So, if you have gigas and you're wanting to breed, get on it. Now's the time to breed. You should be breeding right now. And if you have Aussie species and you don't know what's wrong with them, they're just brumating. Don't freak out. It's just brumation. So brumation is basically hibernation for reptiles. They're seeing the days getting shorter. They're feeling the colder temperatures from winter, and their natural time clock inside of them is saying, oh, time to go to sleep. They will brumate in Australia, and then they will come back out after their winter and they will begin breeding. So these animals are going to, for brumation, they're going to start cutting back on what they're eating. You're going to be putting food in front of them and they're not going to be eating it. They're going to be sleeping all the time. For people who have tanks or keep their animals in vision cages or something like that, then you're not going to be seeing them. You're going to wonder where they're at. They're going to be buried, or they're going to be under their hides. And don't freak out. You might have just gotten your animal and you're wondering, what's going on. It was out every single day to greet me, and now it's not. It's just brumation. Again, these animals, they're by no means super domesticated. They still have this natural time clock inside of them that says, this is summer, this is winter, this is spring, this is fall. So they are doing what they do naturally. They're going to sleep. They're going to ride out the winter, not spend a bunch of energy walking around looking for stuff that isn't there. And they're going to sleep through the colder months. They're going to come back out. They're going to go through a shed. They're going to start eating a ton again, and then they're going to be ready to breed. So if you're trying to cycle your animals, if you're trying to breed, you should definitely be putting them through brumation, at least for the Aussie species. The gigas don't brumate, so you don't need to worry about it. But for the Aussie species, for your adults, you should definitely be brumating every winter. You can fight brumation. The babies and the juveniles, the animals that are less than a year old, should not be going through brumation. Either going to lose a lot of weight through brumation because their metabolisms are a little bit faster. So you definitely want them to have the size on them. So all you have to do to keep them out of brumation is supplement them with light. I supplement with light. I have one window in my room here, and then they don't have any other light, so it's not super bright naturally, but if they can see outside, they're seeing when the sun's coming up and they're seeing when the sun's going down. So seeing that shorter window of daylight is making them want to go to sleep. So supplement them with light, then they think their days are longer. If you're trying to keep them out of brumation, I would say at least 16 hours of light a day would definitely keep them out. And keep your temperatures hot. Keep your rooms hot that they're in. Your houses are naturally cooling off in the winter. So they're feeling that ambient temperature shift, and that is also triggering them. So I also have a heater in my room, keeping my room at a steady 74 degrees. It kicks on at 72 and it kicks off at 74. So that keeps my room good and consistent for them all throughout the summer and the winter. if they are, if you're trying to keep them from brumation, even adults, you could keep them from brumating, I guess, if you wanted to. But even if you're not breeding, it's just part of nature for them. So I would recommend just, letting them go into brumation. But it is possible to keep them out. You definitely want to keep your babies out. I've seen babies that have gone into brumation at just 4 or 5 months old, and they don't look good when they're done. They lose a lot of weight. They don't grow good. I have babies. I'm seeing animals that are 4 to 5 months old that are the size of 1 or 2 month old animals because they went into brumation and they don't have the size on them now. So brumation, what's going to happen then is as things start to heat up again in the spring, they're going to naturally come out. You can cycle them. So like on a rack, you would cut their heat back in this winter. You could for northerns, I would say cut your heat back on your heat tape to maybe 70 degrees. And then the ambient side, the non-heated side, would hopefully drop to 60 or in the mid to high 50s. Let your room get cold over the winter. And then, as you're bringing them back out, I would say you could brumate them you should brumate them for 60 days roughly. Then what you're going to want to do is when you're trying to bring them back out, or when you are ready to bring them back out, just start bumping the heat up day after day, add a couple of degrees to it, and give them, say you're brumating, bring it up over a week. So add a few degrees to it to get it back up to your 98 degree or 98.5 degree temperature. You could do this with a tank just by raising the heat lamp off the top of the tank and then slowly lowering it down day after day for about a week, and then that'll kind of bring them out naturally instead of just going from 70 to 98 in a day. It spreads it out a little bit for them. So you can definitely do that. I definitely recommend doing that, and it's good for your animals. It's not a big deal if they're going into brumation. Definitely not. But that's just something that you should be keeping in mind. It's happening to a lot of people currently, and so we wanted to kind of time this episode out with brumation, and that way it'll hopefully help you guys to be able to see what's going on with your animals, and will kind of ease some of the worry that you guys are having. So as always, please tune in for our next episode. It's going to be great. We're going to be covering foods and feeding, and I'm going to be going through and showing you guys everything that I'm feeding, recommending different things, and it should definitely be a good episode. So please stay tuned. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys.